The regulations resulting from the NAR settlement take place August 17th. August 17th, real estate changes with these new regulations. My name's Alex. I'm here in the Sacramento market. I'm with eXp Realty, and I want to give you a glimpse of what is ahead of us with these new regulations. We're taking a look at this listing, a brand new listing in Rockland, and what I want to point out to you is right here, the revenue that we would earn on this property of 3% as the buyer's agent. You're no longer going to see that. That's no longer going to be allowed to be included in the listing details. You're going to make an offer on said property, and we as your buyer's agent aren't going to know what the commission is that's being offered. Now, before we can take you in and show you any properties, this buyer-broker representation agreement needs to be signed between you as the buyer and myself as your buyer's agent. Within this document, it specifies the type of property, length of the agreement, and the amount of gross commission. So here's the thing about this. If we go in and negotiate this and you say, look, I only want to pay you 1%, or I only want to pay you $500 or whatever it is, and we agree upon that, and then we go and make an offer on a property, and after the offer is accepted, we come in with this confirmation of compensation from the seller, and we find out that the compensation is 3%, well, we can't go back and amend this agreement, because the date on this agreement is before the offer was submitted and agreed upon, and then we found out what this is. So they're really putting buyers in a tough spot and buyer's agents. And I had a discussion earlier this week with a buyer, wanted to go see a property, and I said, well, I can't show you that property unless I have this agreement signed. And the guy goes, well, I'm not going to sign the agreement with you. I said, well, then I can't show you the property. So what he did was he went directly to the listing agent and said, I'm just going to contact the listing agent. So I said to him, I go, the problem with that is the listing agent, they need you to sign this agreement before they can show you the property. And then if you get into contract with the listing agent, well, they're in dual agency. And under dual agency, the Department of Real Estate here in California looks at dual agency and says that the listing agent cannot be impartial in representation on both sides, being the listing agent and the buyer's agent. It's just an internal conflict of interest. But in this guy's case, I don't know if he's in contract, but let's just say he got into contract. Well, now he's going to be in a dual agency situation. He's not going to have anyone truly representing his interest in the purchase of the property. So August 17th, this takes place. I am enforcing this right now. It's a best practice. And if you're a buyer in the market and you want to engage with me to go and see property, I got to have a buyer-broker representation agreement signed. I'm writing my agreements at 2.5%. That's the amount I expect to earn. And then once we get into the transaction, get our offer accepted, and we have confirmation of compensation, if that is a different percentage than what is offered, then we go in and adjust it from there. But on the front end of this thing, if you're a buyer in this market, you have to sign a document that says you're going to pay me 2.5% or whatever it is without knowing what the compensation is that's being offered by the seller, if there's any. So keep in mind, this is the government's way of protecting the consumer. This is the government's way of creating more clarity in the market. So that's my explanation of what's going on. Again, we're looking at two new forms that we're going to be looking at before we get into the transaction. The buyer-broker representation agreement, and then confirmation of compensation from the seller. Again, the government's here to protect you, and this is how they're doing it. I look forward to your comments. I want to know what you have to say. I want to know what your thoughts are. Leave your comments down below. If you're thinking about buying or selling a house and you want more information about this, please reach out to me. All right, thanks for checking out the video. I'll catch you on the next one.